Your Game of Thrones Season 2, Episode 1, The North Remembers. This is an episode about who's in charge. The thing about Game of Thrones is that they have very distinct thematics going on episode by episode. And of course, this is a season that's all about power. Every episode is about power. Every scene is about power in this whole thing. I come from this, as I was talking about the podcast before, I come this from a total average fan point of view. I'm not going to read the books until the season's over. I'm the 80%. I'm the 80% that makes this show the huge success that it is. There's the 10% who are like crazy fanboy fanatics. There's a 10% who watch it because their husband watches it or their wife watches it and they don't even care about the show. They could care less about the show. But generally speaking, the 80% makes things work in shows like this. The amazing thing about it is it's fanboys are very much like sports fanatics. Like they think that they're always 10%, 10 to 15%, and they're crazy about it. They dive into Game of Thrones. They analyze it to death, and etc. And they think that 80% of the population who watches the show is like them. But they're not like them. They're just average people who watch the show and they make the show survive. And that's the bottom line. Like 12 million people watch this episode. 1.3 million of you, that's a lot of fanboys. That's a lot of you are fanatics. But remember, if it was only you watching the show wouldn't be a success. Just like the sports fan who's a crazy football fanatic and wears the war paint and watches every goddamn game, they think that they're the ones who are carrying the NFL. No, they're not carrying the NFL. They got you no matter what. If they show the worst game ever, the worst Game of Thrones episode ever, you're gonna watch the next episode. It's the average fan that makes these things a success, and that's what people have to remember. Okay, this is a show. This is an episode about power. So there's different perspectives on what power is. The Queen basically saying power is power. There's no point to analyze it. And this is what this episode's about. It's about different characters analyzing what power is. Even someone says to Jon Snow, do you want to lead? Then learn how to follow, which is something I've heard in my life as well. So there's different ideological points of view about how to win this war, how to lead to win this war. There's lots of scenes in this episode like usual, but even more so because it's the pilot. They're setting up a lot of things. There's lots of characters. There's some new characters that we got to figure out now. There's the favorite characters that we all love, and I'm the big Lannister guy. I like watching all the Lannister scenes. They can have Landerson Game of Thrones. I can watch this show. I love the Landerson stuff so much. I have no idea what's going to happen next. All I know is that this show is so well done. Everything is so convincing in this kind of make-believe world. We believe this world so much. The cinematography is amazing. The performances are out of this world. If you really think about it, fantasy is really hard to perform because as the audience member, you have to be convinced about what these people are trying to say. The art direction, the costumes, this is just a perfectly executed television show in which it makes it the success that it is. And it's very well plotted too. It's a very well plotted show. A little too many characters, but other than that, it's got strong themes that parallel to our society that's going on today. And that's what makes it a successful show. That's my review.